Hi guys, and welcome back to the Gigi Naturals Homestead channel. Today has been a roller coaster of emotions for me. I just finished pressure canning for the very first time, and I felt afraid. I felt emotional. I felt happy. I have just felt all types of things today in having this experience. And I just wanted to say, I'm so happy I did it. I'm so happy that I overcame my fears. At one point, I even threw the pressure regulator twice. Not intentionally, but because there was so much fear in doing this. I even noticed that, when my family, my children, my husband would come through, they were even afraid of this pressure canner. It is big. It is a big piece of equipment, and I don't know where the fear came from with pressure canning, but the fear is real. And even though I was afraid going through this, I feel like it was a journey that I needed to take, and I really overcame something that was a big deal for me. It was really a big deal for me. And so I want to show you guys the video that I took with going through this pressure canning for the first time. This is my first time actually pressure canning. So I want to show you guys the video that I took going through this. And, I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. And so if you're new to pressure canning, stay tuned and, see some of the video that I took, because I think it's going to make it a lot easier for you guys once you see a newbie like myself actually go through this process and then come out on the other side. Okay, everybody's safe. Everybody is happy and excited to get to taste some of these garlic potatoes. So stay tuned, and here we go. Okay, so we're going to get started by chopping our potatoes. And these are just regular white russet potatoes. And I am just cubing them. So just like that. I'm not going to make them very, very small. I'm just going to cut them in half and then cut them in half again. And that's going to help to have them seasoned, have some of the seasoning really get into them. So just in cubes that are also kind of bite-sized. And so I took these potatoes and just washed them. These actually did not come from my garden. These came from the grocery store. And so I took them and I washed them. Didn't want to put any soap on them, so I just used vinegar to wash them. Let me break that down a little bit more. Yeah, because I want to keep them kind of bite-sized. Come on. And this is, I believe this is going to be about 7 pounds of potatoes. Okay, since we had already started eating out of the bag of potatoes. My family absolutely love potatoes. They're going to make home fries because, guys, we cook, we eat at home. So they're going to make home fries on a regular basis, which are just delicious. And we make garlic potatoes. So I thought this was kind of important to make sure that we also made some garlic potatoes to can, since that is something that we eat on a regular basis. Now that one had a little spot on it, so I'm just gonna remove that. Okay. So I really wanted to make sure that we have some garlic potatoes canned, so that is something that we can definitely enjoy in the future. You know, should we have power outage or whatever, we definitely love garlic potatoes. So, and I don't know about you guys, but like when we say garlic potatoes, we mean garlic potatoes. You're going to taste the garlic in our potatoes. We really mean garlic potatoes. And my children all know how to make the garlic potatoes, so it's not just something that's a job for mom. We all really, even my husband knows how to make really good garlic potatoes. My husband actually can cook really well. What you're hearing in the background is my youngest child actually digging into something that my husband cooked this morning, so that was a little big. I just saw that. But I don't want them to be so small that they just turn to mush in the jars. So we want them bite-sized, but not mush size. But hey, for us, even if they turned to mush in the jar, all that is to us is mashed potatoes. So we're okay with it. We would go with it and probably enjoy it. I know we'd enjoy it, as a matter of fact. And so I didn't put anything in this except for water. And typically my potatoes can stand without having to put, you know, something in the water to keep them from turning. Typically the water is good enough to keep the potatoes from turning brown, especially when you're kind of, you know, working at a faster pace. That kind of helps as well. So that is full. I guess I can put more, stack more up here. But this is going to be my first time actually doing pressure canning. I have water bath canned a couple of times, but this is going to be my first experience actually pressure canning, so that's kind of exciting. And I've been looking for something simple like potatoes to have my first pressure canning experience with. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these chopped up and then I'll be right back. Okay, so my potatoes are all chopped up and I have my jars out of the oven. So they're nice and warm. So I'm gonna start with the seasoning. I'm gonna do, let's see, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of kosher salt to each. Okay, so there's my kosher salt. And now, what I have in this blend here, let me show you the blend. I have garlic and herb seasoning, parsley, minced onion, garlic and pepper, and rosemary. So I went ahead, just for time's sake, to mix them all together. And so I'm just adding a tablespoon of this blend to each jar. So this pretty much comes out to a teaspoon or half of teaspoon of, well, no, a teaspoon, a full teaspoon of each of the things that I mentioned. And then put the rest in there. All right, so that's a teaspoon of all of that, and then a teaspoon of the kosher salt. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these jars packed. And look at me, I almost forgot my garlic. That's really important. So garlic by the teaspoon. Each of my jars. Garlic and garlic potatoes, super important. And we love it. We kind of cook with garlic every single day. Minced garlic, we cook with dried garlic, powdered. We cook with all of it. Okay, so now I can pack the potatoes in. It's a lot of potatoes. Make sure I get as many in as I can without going over my head space. All right. And I didn't know how many it was going to take, so I just chopped up what I had, which came to be about 7 pounds. So okay, so now it's time to add the water to my jars. Hot water. Slide that around so I'm not all back there with the hot water, because I'll spill it. All right. I don't know if I have enough. This is my first time also doing quarts, so I'm kind of figuring out how much of everything that I need to go into these quart size containers. Just as I thought. Don't have enough water, so let me get some more hot water. Okay, so now I've got my water in my jars. I'm just gonna debubble. I don't know what happened to my debubbler. I'm gonna have to order an extra one. No air down there. These spices are looking delicious in these jars. Okay, so let me just top off a couple of them that need a little extra water. Leaving that 1-inch head space. And sit these over in the canner. And this is a 23 quart Presto. And so it holds 7 quarts. Wanted to make sure that I filled it up if I was going to use the quarts. Might as well fill it up. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so in the middle of the screen, you see the steam coming out of that little vent pipe. That's exactly what we want to see. And so I set the timer for 10 minutes, let it do that for 10 minutes, and then I can start my pressure canning time. All right, and now the little nipple is up back there, so that's a good sign. Okay, so I've added the pressure regulator. I was terrified and I threw it, but I calmed myself and added it, and now as you can see, the pressure is rising. At my altitude, I need 10 pounds of pressure, and so I'm just going to wait for it to get there and then turn it down so that we can continue the process. So right now I'm at about 11 pounds of pressure, and I just reduced the heat to try to maintain that. So I'll be back. Okay, this has been quite an experience. So I turned the heat off, turned the burner off at 303. This came to 0 by roughly 3:35, and at 3:46 this just fell. The little nipple back there just fell. So now I'm going to remove the pressure regulator, and I'm going to give it a few more minutes to cool down, and then I'll open the canner so we can see the potatoes. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the top. I took the pressure off by turning it back around and just lift and away from your face. And this is still steaming, guys. These jars are cooking. They're literally still cooking, so we're just gonna be super careful. You see that? Still cooking. This is how hot that pressure canner gets. So, I can take a deep breath now. This is what the jars are looking like. Still going to town. In the future, I think I'm going to give it a few more minutes to cool down. Probably more like an extra 30 minutes to cool down in the future. So I'm just going to allow them to sit here and do what they do. But it is kind of, you know, you want to kind of take them out of the heat because this pressure canner maintains a lot of heat. Six. Oof. They're doing their thing. And 7. That was intense, but I made it through. Thanks guys so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next video.